What's going on YouTube? Beacon Ollie Ted back with another cigar review for you guys. Today we're looking at a cigar by Caldwell Cigars. This is the Long Live the King. This is my style is Jalapeno version, which is a tiny bit bigger than a Lancero, weighing in at 40 by 7 1/4. This cigar is going to range you between $8 and $9 a stick. Cigar contains a Dominican wrapper, a Dominican binder, and a Dominican and Nicaraguan filler. Overall appearance and construction of the cigar is really impressive. It has minimal veins, almost completely seamless. My only complaint is with the pigtail on here. Out of two of these cigars, the pigtail snapped off on both of them. I feel like pigtails, they look really cool, but half the time they snap off in transit, so they only cause you issues at the end of the day. On both of these, it's made the cap start to unravel, so hopefully after I cut this up it doesn't cause an issue. But I'm a big fan of this size cigar, so I'm really excited to give this a shot. Cut up and we'll get into the first third. Alright guys, so I'm back. I'm well into the first third of this cigar now. Start off by talking about the draw on this cigar. The draw is pretty spot on. It's only the slightest bit on the snug side, so overall really good draw. The burn on it, the burn is pretty even, and if it does get a little bit wavy, it corrects itself, so no issues with the burn. The flavor profile, right off the bat, this is a really complex cigar. You're not getting hit right in the face with, one main flavor. You've got a bunch of flavors nicely blended together. I'm getting nuttiness, sweet tobacco, baking spices, and on the finish, the only way I can describe it is like a very slight hickory. On the retrohale, you've got a little bit of spice in those baking spices that I talked about, probably due to the Nicaraguan tobacco that it's blended with, but it's very nicely balanced. I really think that this one's gonna progress throughout, so I'll get back to you guys at the half. Alright guys, so I'm back. I'm at the halfway point of the cigar right now. Forgot to mention in the last segment about the smoke output. The smoke output isn't bad by any means. It is a Lancero type cigar, so you're really not going to be getting these huge clouds, so you can't expect that out of this size cigar. Just note that this isn't the type of cigar that you can, sit down, have a conversation with your buddies, and then go back to and expect it to be smoking great. If you let it sit for too long, it is going to go out, or it's going to come pretty close to it, to the point where you're going to have to puff it a few times to get it going again. Still no issues with the burn of the draw. The flavor profile has transitioned a bit. Now I'm getting a lot of really sweet and creamy tobacco, and I'm still getting those baking spices, but they're ramped up a little bit. And when I say baking spices, I mean things like nutmeg, clove, things along those lines. So so far it's been an interesting smoke, and we'll see what the final third has in store. Get back to you. Alright guys, so I'm now approaching the last third of the cigar. I just want to wrap this up real quick because it's starting to get dark out. The issue that I talked about earlier about this cigar going out if you let it sit for too long, well, I let it sit for about 2 to 3 minutes just to go grab a beer, and sure enough, it went out, so I had to relight it. No big deal. The flavor profile has transitioned a little bit. I'm still getting a lot of that really sweet tobacco, which is really nice. Still getting the baking spices, but now I'm also getting some nice wood notes, which is a nice transition. It is getting the slightest bit bitter, but not enough to really make that a drawback on this cigar. Overall, when you tally up the scores, I would give the construction and appearance 9.25. The smoke output, I'd give an 8.5, only because if you let it sit for a minute, the smoke output dies a little bit. So 8.5 on the smoke output. Draw, 9.5. The burn, I would give a 9.25, and the flavor profile and complexity, I would give a 9 out of 10. This is a really complex cigar. The transitions are good, not crazy transitions, but they are really good. So when you tally up the scores, that gives it a 91 out of 100. The issue that I talked about in the beginning of this video about the cap, it did start to unravel a tiny bit throughout the whole smoking experience, but not enough to really make that a drawback either. So for a 91 out of 100, if you like Lanceros and you're a fan of Caldwell and how he blends Nicaraguan and Dominican tobaccos, I say that you go out and grab a 5-pack of these cigars and let me know what you think. I have smoked these in different sizes, so the flavor is definitely different with this cigar depending on which size you're smoking. So let me know what you guys think. Until next time.